The last touch of 2023 to Matt Sopalula. And there it is. It's all over. The Maitland Pumpkin Pickers. They go back-to-back in the Denton Engineering Cup. Full-time, Maitland 46, South Newcastle 10. Well, congratulations to everybody involved in Bryden's Lawyers Magic Round. An outstanding success. Over 4,000 to 5,000 in attendance, Tony. It was just a great weekend, wasn't it?
Oh, Pete, a great weekend of rugby league and a very memorable weekend of rugby league, Pete. We saw 5 great matches played right throughout the day, obviously finishing with Central Newcastle overcoming Western Suburbs 22 points to 8. But, Pete, you know, one of the great things I thought about the day is, you know, whilst it was a professional event, I was down in the tunnel during half-time, etc., waiting for the teams to come back on the field. I look out there, Pete, and all young kids are out there kicking the Stephen. Just one of those great family days out there, Peter.
Yeah, and everybody embraced the concept. I mean, we had live wrestling out, you know, around the ground.
Yeah,
How good was that to watch?
Didn't quite get down there, Pete. No, I was ready to take on the next challenger, mate. I was calling out Bubba Berg. I couldn't find him.
And the food and the beer stalls, sensational. Great work involved to everyone.
Yeah, it certainly was, Pete. And obviously well attended, those particular stalls as well. It was great to see so many of the clubs out there too, just with their little marquees and things like that as well. Spending the day at the football and just taking in, you know, the elite level of football that is offered by the Tui's Newcastle Rugby League.
Yeah, and I think it's something that will be back for not just next year, Tone, but for many more years into the future.
Yeah, certainly, Pete. I think it's going to be an annual event there, and you know, maybe some questions raised about the venue itself, whether it might be suitable for grand final day. You know, a lot of people would love to see it back at the number 1 sports ground, the Traditionalists. Many think that McDonald Jones Stadium, whilst being a magnificent facility, might be a little bit big for the grand final.
Yeah.
But I could see the grand final absolutely rocking at number 2, but that's up to the powers that be, I suppose, and Mr. Debsich and his board of directors.
Yeah, time will tell. And of course, the feedback that I got, you know, a lot of people just kicked on into the night, walked into Newcastle and partied on.
Yes, Pete, I wasn't one of those people. I was home to bed, mate. I had a 7:15 tea time the next morning.
You had a big day.
It was a big day, mate. Yeah, quite early, and obviously finished out there quite late at night, mate. But it was absolutely worth it. It was just a wonderful day, and mate, I can't wait to get into round 2 of the Newcastle Rugby League.
And Tone, just letting everybody know, coming up later on in the program, we're going to have a new segment this year.
Okay.
And you know what? You should know what it's going to be called, but I'll let you know what it is going to be called. It's going to be called Tony's Whinge of the Week.
I only get one.
You only get one. I think we've had half.
I'm about 14 I could have, but anyway.
We'll find out what grinds your gears a little bit later in the show, Tone.
Okay, yep.
All right there. Well, let's go through the review of Magic Round to open round 1 of the competition. And the entrance Tigers overcoming Lakes by 28 points to 24. Tone, a game of 2 halves.
Certainly was, Pete. I think at half-time, Ian Burke had to go in the dressing room and look out and see if the people were still on the team bus out there. 22-0 down at half-time, the Lakes United, Pete, which was very, very disappointing given how much preparation has gone into the season thus far. However, full credit to the players, mate, because they did actually launch quite a stunning comeback and were only defeated by a late try there to Mal Utah in the corner field for the entrance Tigers. You know, some worrying signs there for both sides, really. Just the Lakes United very, very slow at the start. And I thought the entrance just really dropped off there, to be perfectly honest with you. I think there might have been a few of the entrance players maybe looking up there at the Tui's marquee and just planning the rest of their afternoon in that second half, Pete. So it made it for a very entertaining game of football, though. Full credit to the entrance, though, Peter. They were the better side on the day. Just want to touch on a couple of guys, I think, for Lakes United. Charlie Hennessy on debut was very strong. I think he'd be lucky to maintain his spot, though. I think he'll probably get an opportunity again this week. Also thought Campbell Woolnough, mate, who's been a signing for us in the off-season, did some great things there in the second half as well, mate. So that was good. Mate, for the entrance, I was really impressed with Joey Besgrove, a hooker. And I thought their captain, Ryan Doherty, was fantastic for them as well.
Blake Austin, how did he go?
Yeah, he was good without being spectacular. Pete obviously just finding his feet in the Newcastle Rugby League. I did catch him post-game for a quick interview, and he was definitely surprised by the standard and the speed of the game. So no doubt he'll be better for the run.
Mate, Wyong 25, Curry 24. It was what you call a gritty game. Blake Ferguson was sent to the sin bin, and this game went down the wire as well.
Yeah, Pete, obviously we will talk about that game in a bit of depth, and a lot of people are going to be touching on obviously that field goal there from Baden Searle, obviously breaking the deadlock right at the death. But Pete, a lot of people focus for Curry. I thought Blake Ferguson was really good for them. But I thought the guy that stood out for me, Pete, to be perfectly honest with you, was young Jack Tamburini in the back row, the red-headed back row for Curry. He's obviously done a lot of work in the summer. He was outstanding for them, Pete. Thought he was one of the real standouts of the day from an individual performance perspective. Look, for Wong, I thought Marley Townsend there on the wing was pretty good. Hutchinson Walters obviously caused a lot of drama for them in the centres as well. He's a very big body, he can be hard to handle as well. Look, to be honest with you, I think that Curry probably got more out of that encounter, Pete, than the Wong Roos. I thought Wong were quite disappointing. I did touch base with Mitch Williams post-game, and there's no doubt he wasn't very happy with his team's performance, and he'll be looking to rectify that this week.
Maitland's own 20 overcame the Hawks 10, and a big shout out to our great mate Dave Dryden. I know that the Hawks didn't get the 2 points, mate, but he picked up a 4-pointer, big Dave.
Man, he did, mate. Flash ball and crashed over there in the second half, Dave, mate. He's been a very big mainstay of the Tui's Newcastle Rugby League for a long period of time, so it was good to see the veteran get a try there, mate. Look, this one, the Hawks hung around, Pete. They really did, and they kept working and they kept in the grind with Maitland. Maitland probably not one of their best games. I saw some uncharacteristic errors from Maitland there as well. Caught up with Chad O'Donnell after the game, mate, and he was probably a little bit reflective about where they were at, to be perfectly honest with you in regards to that. Let me tell you though, Pete, one of the big highlights of the day for me was their winger Ethan Parry, mate, just grabbing balls out of the stratosphere, mate. It was like watching LeBron James grab a rebound, and there's some spectacular tries scored by the Maitland side in that one. Look, I think that Maitland will probably be better for the run there, Pete. Competitions aren't won in April, Pete. They're won in September. And we know Matt Lantry, we know the way he coaches his side. He almost gets them up for certain particular games like a Melbourne Cup racehorse training, to be perfectly honest with you. They got through this one. It looks like they got through unscathed, and I think we'll see a much better showing for them this Saturday coming.
Cessnock 26, Macquarie 6. Luke Huff, outstanding for Cessnock.
Oh, look, Pete, I'll be perfectly honest with you, and obviously you won't find a bigger Luke Huff fan than myself, given our personal connection, but I don't think, this is one of Luke's better games, to be perfectly honest with you. It took him a little while to get going. Mate, Macquarie sort of dragged him into the contest with that gritty style. A couple of guys from Macquarie, I was quite impressed with Mitchell New, their hooker, mate. I thought he did some great things there. Your man, Malik Delilo, as well, just in the front row. He obviously grabbed a try there as well. He was pretty good.
Yeah.
And look, with Macquarie, Pete, it made me question their depth. But however, they did hang in there for quite a period of time against a very, very powerful Cessnock side. I think that, look, I'll be honest with you, I know we are going to catch up with Harry Syker, later on in the program, but I think he probably would have been disappointed with how they featured there on Magic Round. They probably would have been expecting a much better showing for them.
Yeah.
So there's definitely some work to be done up at Cessnock, especially considering they had quite a tough trial series as well. So I thought they'd be better prepared.
Well, I thought they were a little bit sloppy in the first half, and as you mentioned, Tone, Macquarie definitely made Cessnock work for it.
Yeah, they certainly did, Pete, and I think that's one of the things about the Newcastle Rugby League. If you looked at some of these games on paper, you probably thought that it'd be a handy win to Cessnock and a very handy win to Maitland, and definitely that case with Wild, mate. But teams are really jumping in there and really ready to go into battle with those sort of sides, and we're seeing some contests, a lot more continuity and a lot more parity in the competition in season 2024.
Central 22, Western Suburbs 8.
Well, Pete, to be perfectly honest with you, out of all the sides that played on the weekend, besides Curry, one of the ones I was most impressed with was Central Newcastle. I thought their centre three-quarter Tyrone End was outstanding for them, Pete. The usual Cameron Anderson performance as well. To break the deadlock, it was great to see our man Nick Ritter in the front row get over, Pete. He's a wonderful servant of the game as well. But, Pete, the guys that really impressed me, though, and I can't believe that Western Suburbs let him go, Logan Radzovic at 5'8", and I thought Matty Atkins has grown to look at half too. They're very dynamic, very good running game. They played with speed. They played high energy. They played flat through the football.
Yep.
I thought they were really, really good, Pete. Captain's knock again from Lockie O'Brien. A lot to like about where Central are at the moment, Pete. I just have to question our depth, though. Mm-hmm. But, Pete, I just thought, some really, really strong performances as well. But also the other guy, too, Pete, that featured heavily was Brock Gresham. I thought he was tremendous for them.
Yeah, take nothing away from Central Newcastle. They were there to play footy. But I do feel a little bit sorry for Rick Stone. I've got, you got to admit that Luke Walsh, he had a calf. Will Smith, I think he's suspended, isn't he? And Nathan Ross.
Smith's back this week, Pete, I do believe. I believe Smith's back as well. Walsh will also be back in the halves as well.
Gardner?
Guards is actually hurt, I believe.
Yeah.
So, he's... and let me tell you, Pete, I could see how frustrated Western Suburbs were becoming as that contest grew on. A little bit of push and shove and maybe a couple of other things happening there too, Pete, which I like to see as well.
Yeah.
And, so obviously West have named the side. Looks like Max Baderis might be spending a bit of time in reserve grade, potentially just looking at the way that side's been named earlier this afternoon. So get an indication about where Wests are at. Obviously, they're headed to Carl Oval to take on Lakes United, Pete, and they'll get the usual Lakes United reception, like most Western Suburbs teams do. Don't worry about it, 24.
Indeed. Well, as we go to air today, Tone, we've got a press release coming from the Newcastle Rugby League, just to let everybody know that the 2024 Porto Women's Premiership draw has now been released, and we're counting down the kick-off, Tone, on the 4th of May.
Yes, Peter, a magnificent news today. Obviously, the draw's now officially been released. We saw a couple of sort of false starts there with the draw. Obviously, a 7-team competition, Pete, and I honestly think, Pete, just having a look through some of the rosters at the moment, the favourites are actually going to be the Maitland Pickers, Pete. They've got an outstanding roster there, off the back of people like Brooke Carter. There's Ebony Ford's out there as well. Obviously, the great Caitlin Miranda out there as well. So they're going to have a very, very strong showing there, Pete, in the newer Porto Women's Premiership. Defending premiers Lakes United, of course, had a win 28 points to 4 in their trial last weekend against South Newcastle. I think Central Newcastle will go around in their first trial this weekend, so it'll be interesting to see how they fare out there on Sunday at Townsend Oval. We'll start to get a read on where some of the teams are at, and I'm looking forward to having some of the coaches and some of the ladies on the show, Peter, towards the season builds.
The 7 teams include Central Newcastle, Lakes United, Maitland, South Newcastle, Raymond Terrace, Western Suburbs and Wyong. And at the conclusion of the regular season, there will be a 4-week finals series culminating in the first Porto Women's Premiership Grand Final, Tone, to be played at McDonald Jones Stadium on Sunday, the 22nd of September.
Yes, Pete. No doubt I'll be out there on the microphone as well. So we'll be seeing who's lifting the trophy, a long way off at the moment. But should be a great competition, that one, Peter. Yeah,
of course, the Porto Women's Premiership team will be played as part of the Newcastle Rugby League match days, with the exception, though, of Raymond Terrace home games, which will be played at their home ground, the Lakeside Sporting Complex.
Yeah, Raymond Terrace, very impressive last year, going down and right down to the wire with Lakes United in that grand final. So they've, I know, obviously, Brooke Roach up there has done a lot in the female space over the last 2 to 3 years. They've been building towards this. They've put a lot of financial backing towards it through their junior system for a long period of time. So I think we'll see a good showing from the Terrace as well, Pete. So they won't be any easy beats. And playing under their own entity as well, I think they wanted to keep that identity rather than becoming the Hawks. So, yeah, it's fantastic to have them included as part of the district competition.
Alrighty then. Well, as I mentioned, we're going to have a chat with Ryan Glanville on the show today, Tone.
Yes, mate. South Newcastle, their home opener against Central Newcastle. And obviously we'll be out there at the game, Pete, for the pre-game show from 2:45. Obviously kick-off at 3 o'clock, but looking forward to that one. South Newcastle versus Central live from the Townsend Oval, Pete.
We'll find out what's happening up at Cessnock with Harry Syker.
Yes, mate. Harry was giving it to me in the sheds as well. No doubt we'll cover that during the interview as well, mate. But, yeah, may want to see where Harry's head's at after that win on the weekend. Probably a little bit disappointed with how these teams performed, and let's see what adjustments he's going to make for this week.
And we'll go down to the Wyong Roos and have a chat with Mitch Williams, the captain coach.
Yes, Mitch is, let me tell you, was at maximum heart rate there, and it wasn't from just obviously his cardio on the weekend with that skinny victory against the Curry Bulldogs, Pete. So, yeah, probably one I wasn't expecting. So, it'll be interesting to see where Mitch is at as well.
Yeah, we look forward to that. So, that's all coming up on the show. But why don't we start with the whinge of the week? Why don't we understand what is happening inside Tony Delaney's brain right now? Tone, it's been an interesting 7 days in local rugby league, but we don't have to talk about local rugby league. It could be anything in general.
We're always going to talk about local rugby league on this program.
So you're going to have a whinge about local stuff?
Well, there's going to be 2 whinges actually, Pete, because I can't split them.
Okay.
So my number 1 whinge, and it's only a small one to start with.
All right.
Is no lighting in the grandstand post-sunset.
Yes.
At Magic Round. I was reading team sheets with a torch, would you believe?
Did you have to go and buy one?
No, I used the iPhone torch, Pete. I was outraged, as you can imagine, as well, because you see, one of the most challenging things about it is that not only was I reading that, I was also trying to read off a carbon copy team sheet. The secondary ones? Yes, that's right.
The photocopy.
Yeah, well, not even the photocopy. It was the third layer of pen, Pete. So I was outraged by it.
Was it handwritten?
Yeah, well, I don't know who runs it, the New South Wales or Newcastle Rugby League. Get rid of those carbon team sheets and give me a Microsoft Word one every day of the week. Unbelievable.
Well, I did get told that you go onto the actual digital program for the team sheets, though,
Yes, Pete, and not ideal when there's that many people using their phones that the Wi-Fi connection is quite slow, particularly when Bar TV are doing up their meterage there as well.
Oh, dear, oh, dear. So you're talking now. So now we're digressing a bit. So now you're talking about there wasn't sufficient data.
Oh, Pete, it was an announcer's nightmare out there. Well, there wasn't, Pete. There wasn't, but I'm not going to complain any more about it, Pete. It was a great day out there at Magic Round. But if I'm going to have a whinge, that's what it's going to be about today.
But the segment's called Tony's Whinge of the Week.
Well, I understand that, but I've got Pete.
Yes.
We've got 20-something rounds plus final series.
Okay.
I've got a vein forming in my head already.
Yes,
I've
I
got to
can
go
see that.
light on the whinges early, Pete, because let me tell you, they'll be building as we come.
All right, then. Well, you just have a cordial.
I'm
What have
gonna
you
relax.
got today? You got a bit of raspberry juice?
No, Pepsi Max today, Pete.
Pepsi Max Tone?
Yep.
I'm just looking at you. I know this is a podcast, mate. You got a beautiful white T-shirt on with a little wording in the middle. Can you tell me what
Yes,
that is?
Figo Clothing. You can check them out on Instagram, Pete, at Figo_clothing as well. Mate, our man off the interchange at South Newcastle, the big unit, Lockie Piper, his own clothing company there, mate. He's
Nice.
He's got me on a third-party deal there, Pete, so I have to declare it with Mr. Devsich, obviously.
Okay.
A third-party deal, mate, but they've got some wonderful stuff in there, some really nice-looking hoodies as well.
Yep.
And if you jump on their Instagram page, Pete, you'll see some very well-known Newcastle Rugby League identities modelling the clothing as well, Pete. So,
Including yourself?
well, including myself, Pete, as well, absolutely. But, mate, generally because you do look like you, quite often when I see you look like you're dressed like a Mormon, potentially you might be able to go on there and purchase something when they go live. And
Fantastic.
we might be able to sort you out.
I understand that merchandise is coming. We'll turn it to South Newcastle's first game of 2024 on the weekend on Sunday when they come up against the Central Newcastle Butcher Boys. And on the phone right now, we've got the captain of the South Newcastle Lions, RG Ryan Glanville. Welcome to the podcast, mate.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Mate, the off-season's now done and dusted. It's game time come Sunday. How you feeling?
Yeah, mate, I think everyone's excited. Obviously, having that bye last week gave us a chance to get out and watch a few games at Magic Round, which was really good to see. The footy there was great, and the whole concept was awesome. So, hopefully, moving forward, we can be a part of it. But, yeah, to now finally be putting the boots onto South, I think everyone's raring to go.
Fantastic, mate. Yeah, I was going to ask you, did you get down and see the footy on the weekend? It was a great atmosphere, wasn't it? And I think it's going to be here for a long, long time to come.
Yeah, mate, I thought it was really good. It was great to see so many other people out and about there as well. And it looked like a lot of the boys after their games hung around and had a beer and whatnot. So, yeah, I think it's a great concept.
Something else that's alarming is Mr. Jolly told me that
Oh,
he found you. He just sort of happened to run into you in the chocolate aisle there at Coles at Mayfield, mate. And he didn't even say hello. Unbelievable, mate.
took
Didn't even say hello to RG. Yeah, please.
I knew it was Ryan because he had his training gear on Tuesday night.
Right, yeah. Frequently
He didn't say hello, but he got straight on the phone to Bobcat.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, Ryan, obviously, as we turn our attention now to Sunday, obviously it'll be a big crowd out in attendance there for the Red V at Townsend Oval. And a bit of a homecoming of sorts, I suppose, for Central Newcastle coach Adam Bettridge. Mate, did you have a chance to have a look at Central's game on the weekend?
Yeah, watch a little bit of their game. Bobcat put a few clips through about, the style of footy they play, and they seem to be playing some really tough footy at the moment. I know their forward pack are really fast and really tough, so I think defensively is going to have to be our biggest aspect, and they're obviously well coached as well, so I think I'll be raring to go.
Yeah, for sure, mate. I was actually really impressed for them in regards to just some of their players, mate. I thought their halves played a lot of energy, mate. Radzovic and Atkins, I believe it is, mate. I thought they were outstanding for them.
Yeah, I think they're both great footy players. Matty's had a few games at Central now, and I think Rad's has come across from West, so they're obviously still learning playing together and whatnot. But I thought they were probably the best team over the weekend, and probably the best halves pairing as well. And I think that'll go a long way for them, and probably another thing we'll have to focus on.
Now, mate, obviously just having a chance to have a look at the South Newcastle team sheet for the weekend. No Frank Paul.
Don't know what's going on there. He has been seen at training this week, but not too sure if he's ready to go. He's had a bit of a disrupted pre-season and whatnot, so I think Bobcat might be just giving him another week or so.
Yeah, for sure. Now, mate, obviously one of the new additions in the South Newcastle jumper this season, Matt Moon, mate. How's he been at training?
Yeah, mate, he's been awesome. Obviously comes with a bit of experience now, Mooney, and he knows what he needs to bring to a new club, and he brings a lot of energy and excitement a bit with our training and whatnot, and really looking forward to playing with him rather than against him.
Yeah, for sure. Now, obviously you got some combinations starting to build now, mate. Obviously Angus Sent's departing the club, but it's almost a like-for-like replacement, mate. You're going to pair up in the halves of Sam Clune. What can you tell me about Sam?
Obviously exciting, new halves pairing there, so hopefully it starts to click for us pretty early on, but at the moment, Clooney's been awesome. Guides the team around the park really well and adds a lot of chat as well when we're, mingling with the coaching and whatnot. So, he's been great to have.
Reeve Howard at the back, I mean, he just keeps getting better year in, year out, doesn't he, Reeve?
To the boys at South, there's no surprise with how well he's playing at the moment. And he seems to be ready for another big year, hopefully.
And turn around the ruck area, Mitch Black, I mean, he's just exceptional as well. I mean, South are going to be up there, I reckon, at my prediction, top 3 this year again?
Oh, they're certainly going to be there when the whips are cracking come September, Pete. Mitch Black, as you spoke about, probably one of the premier hookers. He was sort of edged nose to nose with Luke Huth, I thought, right throughout the 2023 season. So, probably one of the big losses I thought, probably the player of the final series last year was Jerome Haynes. Obviously, there's a bit of a void there to fill for South Newcastle, but Bobcat used to hold him back to around about that 62, 63 minute mark. He'd come on and be a bit of a game breaker for them. Probably going to go look with a different style this year, I'd imagine. But look, I know some lighter stuff, content, RG. Mate, it would be remiss of you not to ask you, mate, have you got any good Jack Welch stories from the off-season, mate? Is there something you can tell us about what the South Newcastle Lock's been up to, mate? He's definitely a character in the game. You got any scandal for us about Jack Welch?
Scandal?
I don't, sorry. He's been a bit quiet now, but he's all loved up now in the off-season.
Yeah, that's outrageous. I mean, that's who's put their name to that? What's happening there? It's how did he manage that?
Oh, I don't know. There's probably not much between the years for it, but it's going with well.
Yeah, right, okay. Yeah, for sure. And, mate,
17 for relationship, I think.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. No, absolutely, mate. So, mate, no doubt we'll look forward to seeing him out there on Sunday at Townsend Oval. And, mate, obviously one of the great things for the South Newcastle Club as well, mate, Sleepy's Day standalone this year.
Yeah, mate. Obviously that's huge. I think last year was probably the biggest year we've had, and that's credit to Maitland, who jumped on board really well. I think playing them again, I think only attracts more of a crowd. We obviously know how successful they are, and but like I said, they jumped on board really well last year, and I'm sure people up there will continue to support Sleepy's Day. But to have it standalone gives the opportunity for other clubs to come out and watch, and other fans, I guess, from other clubs to come out and watch as well and experience what a great day it is.
Fantastic, mate. Well, we'll see you on Sunday. We've got the audio call tone from Townsend Oval from 2:45.
Always like getting back to the old stomping ground at Townsend, Pete. Really looking forward to that one too. Going to be a great battle out there, South versus Central. If you're down in the local area, make sure you come down and support the Lions or even the Butcher Boys, and have a sausage sandwich and a beer, Pete. It'll be one of the great afternoons out there, no doubt.
Fantastic. Thanks for coming on the show, Ryan. We'll see you on Sunday, mate, and good luck.
Perfect. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
No worries. Ryan Glanville there, Tone, the captain of the South Newcastle Lions.
Yeah, one of the all-time great guys too, mate, in the Newcastle Rugby League. RG, mate, he'll be very efficient. South's going to be successful on Saturday, mate. It will definitely be off the back of that man, Ryan Glanville.
Okay, let's take a break, and we will come back with the Cessnock coach, Harry Syker. Well, Magic Round's done and dusted at the number 2 Sports Ground. A great event for the league. And Cessnock, Tone, overcame Macquarie by 26 points to 6. I thought Luke Huth had an outstanding game for Cessnock. But Macquarie made Cessnock work for it at times, that is for sure. And on the phone right now, we've got the coach of Cessnock, Harry Syker. G'day, Harry.
G'day, boys. How are you?
They did make you work for it, didn't they, at times?
Yeah, they did, mate. They came to play, and I think we were probably a little bit off to start the game. It took us probably 40 minutes to get into gear, but I sort of put that down to a bit of rust. Like I said, we haven't played a game for almost 4 weeks, and in the last sort of 2-3 weeks, training-wise, we've only really trained one night a week, so I put it down to rust. They were brave, don't get me wrong, but I think the way we trained on the Friday, we should have had a better performance in the first 40 minutes, and it probably took a little bit of that shock to sort of go, we need to click into gear. And I think second half, when we got back to what we know, which is running hard and rolling the sleeves up, we sort of handled them pretty good. So it's not the best performance, but to get a win in round one on the occasion was a good sort of feeling for the boys. So I'm happy for them. Yeah,
what did you make of the occasion, mate, before we do talk some footy? Good concept?
Yeah, awesome concept, mate. We played something similar down at Group 10. They did it 3 times a year, and I thought it was really good then. We obviously didn't have the calibre or or as many teams back then, but to do it and do what they did on the weekend, I thought that was a massive credit to Adam Devcich and his team for setting it up. It was by far one of the best things I've been involved in rugby league. It was really enjoyable. So hopefully it sticks around. I'd love to see him take it out to the Coalfields, or maybe do 3 again and go Coalfields, Central Coast, and then 1 in town again. I think it'd be really good. So love the concept, mate.
Yeah, it's an interesting take. That's actually not a bad idea, Pete, actually.
Yeah, take it
to
around.
Put that to the GM. Now, mate, it's obviously one of the newer rivals for you at the club. He was with South Newcastle last year, drove them to a grand final. Angus Ernst, mate, how's he settling in?
He's been really good, mate. He's, I guess for me, it's a bit of a breath of fresh air. I've sort of taken a step back from playing a bit this year, and I've sort of put a bit more time into coaching with him and Harvey Spence as well, a young kid from England that's come over. It's sort of given me a chance to really focus on coaching them guys and trying to, I suppose, teach them what I've learned throughout my career. And, mate, he's very knowledgeable already, Angus, and he's still very young. I think he's only 22 or 23 years old, which he's got a lot of upside in him. And I thought he had a pretty good game on the weekend. I think they still need to gel a bit more with the 1679, but it's a brand new spine, and we've probably been lucky in a way that we've had the same spine for the last 3 years. And I think with those new boys coming in, even Lewis Young at the back, we're working with Huffy. They're all younger sort of blokes, and they're keen, enthusiastic, a lot quicker than me and Clooney were, I think. So it's sort of added a bit different dimension to the team, which I'm really looking forward to seeing how that sort of plays out towards the end of the year.
Yeah, just a little bit quicker than you, Harry, mate. Just a little bit, mate.
Just a little bit, mate. It's not much toe.
And, mate, good to see good to see Harvey Neville back too, mate.
Yeah, he's good, mate. He's you know what you're going to get with Harvey. He's a local junior. He's a really good bloke off the field, but on the field, mate, he's the most underrated player that I've sort of seen, especially around this time. Like, we played a trial game. He came up against George Jennings. We all had a bit of a laugh. It's basically the town drunk going up against NRL superstar and giving him a bath. So it's good to watch, mate. But he's a very underrated player, Harv, and someone we love having around. He's very popular amongst the playing group and coaching staff. Mate, I hope he stays for a long time.
Yeah. Now, mate, obviously, a little bit of I suppose it's a tough draw for you in regards to, your sort of Magic round, you're up for that. Then the week off, and then you're back home against the Northern Hawks, mate. Well, how are you going to handle the preparation over the weekend? You maybe train Saturday, or what's the plans?
No, so we're probably fortunate that our game lands on the Thursday, so we'll go as normal, train Wednesday, Friday this week, and then next week we'll roll into Monday, Wednesday, and play Thursday. So it's not, although it's a week off, it's sort of not a long week off. So we're kind of fortunate in that regard, but it is a long season. I don't want to burn these boys out and make them train on Saturdays. They need time to enjoy with their families and things like that. Pre-season's been good. We've added a new Western team, James Grimes, and he's given them a fair touch-up throughout the pre-season. And the boys, for me, they look really fit compared to where we were in the last 2 years, and that's something that we did want to change. I think we got run down in the back end of games, so I'm pretty mindful of that. But with Grimes, he's very, very smart with sports science and knowing what the boys need. So, mate, he's got a bit of a plan there for the next couple of days, and I'm sure he'll have them right for Thursday night against the Hawks.
Yeah, now I saw you out there, obviously, at the Curry Sports Ground going down to South Newcastle in the grand final qualifier, mate. What's going to be different about the Glanners this year, mate, to go that one better and make the Denton Engineering Cup grand final?
I think personnel-wise, we've added a lot of youth. I think last year there was a lot of older guys. I'm not saying that's a bad thing; it's a good thing in a way as well. But we've probably added a couple of new players, a bit of fresh blood, and like I said, we're sort of looking at what we've done as a coaching staff. It's no disrespect to anyone that we've had in the past, S&C wise, but James Grimes, I think, is as good as anyone I ever had in the NRL. And we sort of thought our fitness sort of let us down in the last 10, 15 minutes of games. We kind of got run down. And especially towards the back end, we picked up a few injuries that maybe could have been avoided. So we've sort of looked at that as a bit of a change of what we needed. And so far it's been good. In our trial games, we've sort of been in them for 80 minutes. I think the weekend we sort of played 80 minutes. So although it wasn't good in the first 40, we sort of were there at the end of the game as well. So bit of that as well. And then, like I said, the young guys coming in through the halves and fullback, it sort of added a bit of a different mindset in how we play. We've changed up a little bit of our structure and things like that. But mate, it's always been a team that's worked hard for each other, and that hasn't changed this year. They're a tough, gritty side. I know a lot of guys always write us off. The 2 years I've been there, we've never been really fit to do it, but I've always been confident in what I've got there, especially with the local kids and what we've added. I think we've got a team to do it. The ball's in our court now, so we'll be working hard. And like I said, I think James Grimes might be the difference that we needed. So hard work, I think.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, just looking forward to that round 3 clash, obviously, against the Northern Hawks. You know, one of the great concepts, obviously, in 2024 is Anzac Day Rugby League, mate. What a special day to be playing rugby league, mate, but particularly probably the only thing on in Cessnock that day sport-wise. Mate, probably going to be a great crowd in there, mate, great atmosphere on such a special day, you know, not just for rugby league, but also, you know, just as Australian citizens as well.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I love the concept. We've got our Anzac jerseys made up, which I know it plays a special part in a lot of the older guys from the club, especially our president, Ross Murray. He's a veteran, and there's a couple of veterans around the club, and obviously boys' grandfathers or fathers served or whatever else in the army and what so be it. But I just think it's a massive day, massive occasion, and to play on Anzac Day is huge. I think it's a good tribute, and we normally tend to get a good crowd on a night game. Every time we play Curry on an Easter Thursday, it's been a big crowd. So I'm expecting this one to be big as well, mate. And, I think it should be a good game. I think the Hawks have added a couple of decent players there. I think they'll be a different team to what they were last year. So
yeah,
I'm pretty interested to see how we go against them.
Yeah, just on the jerseys, mate, how good is it, Pete? I don't know if you noticed it, Magic Round. The white collar on the Cessnock jumper. How good is it, Harry? Just the retro, mate. How good is it? I love it, mate.
Yeah, I'm sort of lucky enough I get to get a bit of input in the jerseys and training gear. Sure, it gives me a bit of free reign. So, I like the jersey, the collars. I think they're a nice touch, a bit old school, and they're actually a throwback to our 1964 grand final winning team. So
yeah,
I think it's a nice touch.
Fantastic, mate. Fantastic.
Yeah, it is. And mate, before we let you go, how's Reed Hugo? Of course, he copped a gash to the head, didn't he? Went off for a HIA and came back on with headgear. How's he feeling this week?
He was in at work on Sunday, so I don't think he's too rattled. He's got a big head and a big body to follow it, but he got 15 stitches and shook it off pretty well. I don't think he was cuffed or anything. I think he got split, so he looks still ugly, but as good as he can be.
Mate, I think you should have to wear the headgear around for the rest of the week just to work on that, Harry.
We've got that up. Bit of a penalty for him. So.
Good. Reed did you see his photos, Tane? Reed got married up in the islands in the off season, mate. He went all right. Dressed up in his suit.
Yeah, mate. Yeah. Peter Jolly, the Newcastle Rugby League's official Facebook stalker. That's all right. He's the only bloke did jump in the comments on one of my photos. For sure. Right. Good stuff. Well, always good to chat to you, Harry, mate, and no doubt we'll be catching up with you very soon, and good luck to Cessnock next week.
No worries, boys. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks, mate. Well, on the line right now, Tone, we've got the captain coach of the Wyong Roos, Mitch Williams. It was a gritty game on the weekend, wasn't it, Mitch? 25-24. You boys getting the chocolates.
Gritty. Well, yeah. I guess in the end, we scored a try with 2 minutes to go. Probably lucky to escape with a draw, and then Baden obviously kicks the field goal to get us the win, which I don't want to say not deserved, but yeah, Curry probably played the better, smarter footy at the right time of the game, but we probably just got a bit lucky to score that point at the end. Yeah,
indeed, mate. Before we get into the football, the concept, mate, of Magic Round, you're all for it?
Yep, loved it. Thought it was unreal. As soon as we rocked up there, obviously, we'd got there just before the first game started, and to walk out of the tunnel and the boys just walking around, I thought it was a great atmosphere. It was good to see. It looked like everyone was enjoying themselves. So, I think it was awesome.
Yeah, it had that vibe of like semi-final atmosphere, didn't it?
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good. And did you stick around for the rest of the afternoon, or did you head back early?
No, I went to try and stop the ageing process after the 80 minutes. I did that,
so. Mate, you should have tried stopping that at 9 o'clock that morning. Yeah, Minnie, obviously, some big off-siding seasons for the Bulldogs led by Blake Ferguson, mate. I thought he was very, very good from on that edge. But, mate, I was really impressed with the back rower for Curry, mate, Jack Tamburini. I thought he offered a bit for them just in the middle there.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of him last year for him, and it's pretty clear that he's had a big off-season. And I think, adding blokes like Jerome Haynes and Fergo and that, and with the guys that they had there, like Jesse White and Josh Griffiths, they've got some fair footballers there. I think you forget how big Fergo is. It's a big man, well over 6 foot, and I think just that presence and leadership he has with him opens up, the doors for those other guys to probably show their potential a lot more than they did last year.
Now, mate, for you guys, mate, the new man in the number 7 jumper for you guys, Baden Searle, mate, how's he fitting in?
Mate, he's honestly been unreal. he can be a little bit tricky to play against. So I was a bit unsure when we got him here how it was going to be, but he's one of the boys. Had a really good game on the weekend, really strong, and then obviously you want your halfback to take control of the game at the end like he did, and slots that field goal to win us the game, and that's what we're paying for, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure, mate. And mate, also impressed with one of my former colleagues, and back at the Roos now, mate, Jake O'Mealy. I thought he was strong for you.
He's had a bumper pre-season, as you know, probably.
Well, it's about bloody time.
Yeah. He reckons he just needed a good hooking coach to get the best out of him, and it wasn't Bubba. So.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, he's really enjoying himself. He's had a real big pre-season. He's worked really hard on himself, and it was so nice to come back and see him and play that kind of footy that we know he can.
There's a bit of controversy that Luke Sharp was disappointed that I didn't interview him instead of yourself, mate, post-game. A little bit jealous, was he?
That would 100% be the case.
Yeah, big screen there, mate. He missed out. He would have been disappointed.
I told him if he wants to be the rock star, he's got to play like the rock star. So, yeah.
Big game coming up for Sharpie this weekend then, Pete.
Huge game.
Righto, Mitch. Get the training, mate, and we'll see you when we get down there throughout the year, mate. Good luck.
No, appreciate it, fellas. Thank you.
All right, Tone, let's get into round 2 of the Denton Engineering Cup. It all starts on the weekend. We're looking forward to getting out there covering a few of the games. Lakes United are at home to Western Suburbs, 3 o'clock on Saturday.
Yes, Pete, a couple of players out here for Lakes United, but they do welcome back Matt Cooper at fullback as well. And I'm expecting to see, for the first time this season, Cal Guest find his way maybe back on the interchange. Not sure where Ian's going to play him. But it'd be a very welcome inclusion, Pete. Obviously, a number of players making their club debut at home. For example, Pat Mataudia, so he was outstanding for us last week. Up against Western Suburbs, mate. Western Suburbs, some big inclusions for them as well. As you can see there, Will Smith is back, and so is Luke Walsh in the half. So a little bit more direction for them this season. I think they are going to miss Brock Gardner, though. So, tight one here, Pete. Going to go with the home side, Lakes United, in this one.
Yeah, Macquarie will play at home against the Northern Hawks. Macquarie's 6 and 7 this year will be Leicester and Self. Looking forward to their battle against Randall Briggs and Liam Walsh.
Yeah, it's a toss of the coin job, this one, Pete. Obviously, a couple of ex-Macquarie players in there, in that lineup as well. Look, Macquarie, they were good without being spectacular, I suppose, against Cessnock. They sort of dragged them into the grind. And the same could be said for the Northern Hawks here, Pete. But, look, mate, I'm just probably going to give this one just for myself, and I like the idea of Mitch New at hooker. I'm going to give the points here to the Macquarie side, but only based on the fact that they're at home, Pete.
Maitland will play Curry. Now, I'm just looking at the Curry lineup. Looks like they've switched Terence Siu from the hooker to go into halfback this week against Brock Lamb.
Yeah, Pete, he actually did play a little bit in the halves there during stages of that match as well. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think Tyron Stevenson is going to make his way into the number 9 jumper. Look, with this one, Pete, Maitland, the premiers, of course, at home. Maitland, number 1 sports ground, first home game. Curry will be, mate, out to obviously get one better than what they did last week. I think Maitland will be too strong.
The local derby, the Wyong Roos and the entrance Tigers, Morrie Breen Oval, 3 o'clock on Saturday.
Yeah, Pete, look, obviously the entrance off to a big start there against Lakes United, and then almost got run down towards the end. Wyong with a frustrating encounter in their first round. Pete, always an explosive clash this one. Going to go with the home side Wyong here, but not by much.
Sunday afternoon football returns to Townsend Oval, 3 o'clock. South Newcastle will host the Central Newcastle Butcher Boys.
Yeah, Pete, obviously, look, I thought Central were one of the better performers in round 1, to be perfectly honest with you. South Newcastle, not really going to see, get an idea where they're really at the moment. Obviously, you're obviously going to miss the likes of Brendan Simpson, who's now retired. Just having a look at some of the depth. I do like the South Newcastle bench, Pete. You're looking at Dodd, Connor Brown, of course, our man Carlin Pettit, and Big Lockie Piper off the interchange. Probably a little bit too much size, I think, for the Central Newcastle side. They're going to play up tempo Central, mate. This one, I'm going to give it to South Newcastle on the basis of being the home team. But let me tell you, very impressed with the halves Rads of Atkins last week. Yeah, mate, I'm going to go with probably a 6-point win to South Newcastle in this one, but not by much. Central will be right in the contest.
Lock it in.
And, mate, we'll be calling that one, of course, in our audio call. The pre-game show starting at 2:45 and kick off from 3 in that one. Looking forward to it, Pete.
Yeah, the battle of the half fullbacks as well. Reeve Howard going up against Cameron Anderson.
Yeah,
mouth-watering.
Mate, Cameron Anderson was outstanding for them again. Mate, he just really seems to have grown in stature in his leadership too, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And there's just a lot of belief around the Central club at the moment. This is a great test for the Central club and their coach Adam Bettridge up against last year's grand finalists, Pete. This will probably be more of an asset test than the Western Suburbs game, just to give us a real indication leading to the round 3 game. We're actually headed out to round 3 in Anzac Gate St John, Pete.
Yeah, looking forward to that one. Central and Macquarie.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, 3 o'clock. Be good, mate. And Cessnock, of course, had the bye this week.
Yes, Pete, and we'll earn rest for Cessnock after that first round encounter. And we look forward to seeing them back on the Intact Day as well.
Well, there you go, Tone. Another podcast done and dusted. We'd like to thank Ryan Glanville for coming on the program.
Yeah, good fella RG, Pete. Always a good friend of the show. And, mate, I no doubt we'll see him play well out there on Sunday.
We'd like to thank Cessnock coach Harry Syker.
Yeah, another good fella, mate, Harry Syker as well. And, yeah, mate, Cessnock, obviously, with that week off, that'll be well-deserved, Pete. And no doubt he'll be doing his homework leading into Anzac Day.
And Mitch Williams joined us today, the captain coach of the Wangaroos.
Oh, Pete, that's almost the game of the round, that one, Pete. The Central Coast Derby, obviously Mitch, and mate, the coaching, the two treating coaches, mate, Forbesy and Mitch Williams up against each other, so that's always a good one as well.
Did you get a chance to catch up with Forbesy on the weekend?
I did see Forbesy, mate, at the end, mate. Let me tell you, Forbesy, I think that's why the second half comeback. Forbesy, rather than being part of the warm-up, was more interested in looking at the location of their hospitality marquee. He was talking to me about the afternoon that was coming up post-football, mate. So he might have had one eye on the lagers.
We'll need to talk to him about that.
Oh, mate, no,
see where he ended up.
Oh, mate, he might have ended up on Hertie's Lounge. Who knows?
All right, Tone. Well, I'll see you Sunday afternoon football from Townsend Oval. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, can't wait, Pete. See you out there back behind the microphone. And, of course, once again, the pre-game show at 2:45. Kick-off at 3 o'clock from the Townsend Oval. The South Newcastle Lions taking on the Central Newcastle Butcher Bulls.
Good on you, Tone. We'll see you there. The last touch of 2023 to Matt Sopalula. And there it is. It's all over. The Maitland Pumpkin Pickers. They go back-to-back in the Denton Engineering Cup. Full time, Maitland 46, South Newcastle 10.